Young master, please don't take that juice. I saw her added something inside your drink. Obinna frowned, confused by what Omasili said. He didn't want to trust her because of the hatred he felt for her. But something made him pause. He decided to follow Omasili's advice. Babe, please, sip from my glass. In the peaceful city of Oka, there lived a man known as Ugobweze. He was a man of great wealth and high standing in the community. Tall and noble, his presence commanded respect wherever he went. His skin was smooth and well cared for. He often wore elegant traditional attire, with richly embroidered agbada and a red cap symbolizing his chieftaincy title. He carried a walking stick adorned with gold. Despite his affluence, Ugobweze was known for his humility and generosity. He was always the first to contribute to community projects, and his philanthropic efforts had transformed many lives. His compound in the heart of Oka was an expansive estate filled with lush gardens, modern amenities, and a constant buzz of activity. Ugobweze was also a successful businessman, known for his sharp mind and a strategic investment. Ugobweze had a beautiful wife who had suddenly passed away a few years after giving birth to their only child, Obinna. Obinna had grown up to be a handsome young man. His father loved and cherished him so much. Despite his wayward life, Obinna never joked with his studies. He hated associating himself with poor people and always liked to impress classy girls. Ugobweze had a housekeeper, a driver, and a gateman to manage his household. In the social gatherings, Chief Ugobweze's voice was calm and measured, reflecting his wisdom and experience. His laughter was hearty, often filling the room and putting everyone at ease. He treated everyone with respect, from the elders to the youngest children, making him beloved by all. One sunny afternoon, Ugobweze called for his son. Obinna, come here, my son, he said with a gentle but firm voice. Obinna, who was lounging in the garden, rolled his eyes but walked over to his father. Yes, Papa, he answered, trying to sound polite. My son, Ugobweze began, I have noticed that you have not been showing respect to the people around you. This is not how I raised you. You must learn to be kind and respectful to everyone. Obinna sighed, but Papa, they are just servants. Why should I care? Ugobweze's face grew stern. Obinna, everyone deserves respect, no matter who you are. Our wealth doesn't make us better than others. It gives us the responsibility to be even more humble and kind. Obinna looked down, shuffling his feet. Yes, Papa, I will try. Ugobweze placed a hand on his son's shoulder. I know you will, my son. I believe in you. Just then, their housekeeper, Monica, came out with a tray of freshly baked chin-chin. Chief Ugobweze, I made some snacks for you and Obinna, she said with a warm smile. Thank you, Monica, Ugobweze replied, taking a piece and offering it to Obinna. These look delicious. Obinna hesitated, but then took a piece as well. Thank you, Madam Monica, he mumbled. Madam Monica beamed. You are welcome, young master. Later that evening, Ugobweze and Obinna sat in the living room, watching a documentary about famous philanthropists. Ugobweze hoped that seeing these good deeds of others would inspire his son. Obinna, Ugobweze said, see how these people use their wealth to help others. This is what I want for you, to grow up and be a good man who makes a difference in the world. Obinna nodded slowly, deep in thought. I understand, Papa. I want to make you proud. Ugobeze smiled, hugged his son. You already do, my boy. Just remember, kindness and respect are the most important things. As the night grew darker, the city of Oka remained peaceful, with the sound of crickets filling the air. Ugobeze looked out of the window, feeling hopeful for the future. He believed that Obinna would learn and grow, becoming a man of honor and kindness just like him. A few months later, Ugobeze informed his driver, Okafor, about an upcoming business trip. Okafor, we will be traveling for 3 weeks, Ugobeze said, seated comfortably in his study. Okafor looked worried and then went on his knees. Please, Chief Ugobeze, can you give me a day to sort out something important? He pleaded. My daughter Omasele just came back from school, and our landlord gave us urgent notice to vacate. I need to find a place for her to stay while we are gone. Ugobeze thought for a moment. Okafor, tell Omasele to come and stay here until we return. I have empty rooms in the house. Okafor's face lighted up with relief. Thank you, Chief. Thank you so much. He was overwhelmed by Ugobeze's kindness. Later that night, Obinna came home very late. As he opened the door, he saw his father sitting in the living room, watching the news. Good evening, Papa, Obinna greeted. Where are you coming from at this time of the night? Ugobeze asked, his voice firm. I was out with my friends, Obinna replied casually. Those friends are not good company, Obinna. You should not be associating yourself with people who don't teach you anything good, Ugobeze said, his brow furrowed with concern. We just went out to enjoy ourselves, Papa, Obinna said, a hint of defense in his tone. Ugobeze sighed. Listen, I will be traveling tomorrow for a business and will be gone for 3 weeks. I want you to take good care of the house and be nice to the people around you. Okay, Papa, Obinna said, trying to sound sincere. And one more thing, Ugobeze added. Omasele, Okafor's daughter, will be staying here until we return. Obinna frowned immediately. Papa, I don't want to share my space with that poor girl. Ugobeze's expression hardened. If you can't share my house with people, then you should get your own house. That way, no one will disturb you. Obinna was taken aback by his father's stern response. Without another word, Ugobeze stood up and walked into his bedroom, leaving Obinna alone in the living room. Obinna slumped onto the couch, staring at the floor. He couldn't believe his father would invite someone like Omasele to come in their home. He knew his father was a kind-hearted man, but this felt like too much. The next morning, as the sun rose over Oka, Ugobeze was busy preparing for his trip. He called Okafor to his study and handed him a list. Okafor, make sure everything on this list is packed and ready for our trip. Yes, Chief, Okafor replied, taking the list and hurrying off to gather the items. He was responsible for packing Ugobeze's bag and the important documents, ensuring nothing was left behind. In the afternoon, Omasele arrived. She was a very smart and pretty young lady who believed strongly in truth and hard work. She carried a small bag and looked around nervously. Welcome, Omasele, said Monica, the housekeeper, who had been instructed to take care of her. This will be your home for the next few weeks. Feel free to walk around the house. Thank you, ma, Omasele said softly, her voice full of gratitude. Monica smiled. Come, let me show you your room. As they walked through the house, Omasele marveled at the beautiful decorations and spacious rooms. Monica led her to a cozy guest room with a large bed and a window that overlooked the garden. This is your room, Omasele, Monica said. If you need anything, just ask. Omasile nodded. "Thank you, ma." Meanwhile, Obinna was in his room, still fuming about the situation. He had Monica showing Omasiri around and felt a surge of anger. Why does she have to stay here? He muttered to himself. As evening fell, Ugobeze prepared to leave. He found Obinna in the living room and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Take care, my son. I trust you to look after everything while I'm gone." "Yes, Papa," Obinna replied, trying to hide his frustration. "And remember," Ugobeze added, "be kind to Omasiri. She is our guest." With that, Ugobeze and Okafor left for their trip, leaving Obinna, Omasili, Monica and the gate man in the house. Obinna still felt burdened by Omasili's presence. Obinna glanced at Omasili, who was sitting quietly in the corner of the living room. He sighed, knowing he had no choice but to tolerate her presence for the next 3 weeks. Obinna would have to navigate sharing his home with Omasili, and perhaps along the way he would learn a thing or two about kindness and respect. The next day, Obinna started commanding Omasiri around, sending her on unnecessary errands. He used abusive words on her daily, calling her a wretched thing. He lived his normal life, going out with friends and coming back anytime he wished, since his father wasn't home to question him. Sometimes, he hosted his friends at his father's house and they did all sorts of rubbish there. Monica, the housekeeper, couldn't caution him in the absence of his father due to the kind of person Obinna was. He brought different classic girls home and commanded Omasili to serve them. Obinna didn't check on his father's business to see how well the staff were doing at his father's company. One afternoon, as Obinna drove into the compound, he called out, "You poor thing, come here. Open that boot and carry the bag to my room." When Omasili opened the boot, she saw a big trolley bag. She tried to carry it but couldn't because it was too heavy for her. "I can't carry this." "You are a man. You should carry it yourself. After all, it is your clothes that is inside," she told Obinna. Obinna snarled at her. "Do as I say, Omasili, or you will be sorry." Just then, Monica, the housekeeper, saw what was going on between the two of them and decided to come and carry the bag to Obinna's room. "Let me help with that," she said softly, taking the heavy bag from Omasili. "Thank you, Auntie Monica," Omasili whispered, grateful for her help. The following day, Obinna asked Omasili to go and buy a pack of bottled water. He only drank a specific brand and wouldn't take any other. Omasili went to the store looking for that particular bottled water. She finally bought the pack of water and started walking back home. As she was trekking back, she saw Obinna drive past her. He didn't stop to carry her home. When Omasili finally got home, she went and complained to Monica. "Auntie Monica, Obinna drove past me and didn't even stop to help me with this heavy pack of water," she said, her voice filled with frustration. Monica sighed and patted Omasili's shoulder. "I am sorry about that, Omasili, but you know he is our young master, so there is nothing we can do about it." Obinna continued to live his carefree life, ignoring his responsibilities and treating Omasili poorly. Every day, he would call her names and make her do things that were too hard for her. Sometimes, Omasili would cry, but Monica was always there to comfort her. One evening, Obinna came home with a group of friends. "Omasili, come here," he shouted from the living room. Omasili quickly ran to him. "Yes, young master. Serve us drinks and make sure they are cold," Obinna ordered. Omasili nodded and went to the kitchen to get the drinks. She felt sad and tired, but she knew she had to do what Obinna asked. As she served the drinks, one of Obinna's friends laughed and said, "Obinna, why do you keep this poor girl around? She looks like she's about to cry." Obinna smirked. "She is just a servant. She is here to do what I say." Omasili felt a tear roll down her cheek, but she quickly wiped it away. She didn't want to show them how much their words hurt her. Later that night, Omasili sat in her small room, thinking about her life. She missed her father's presence and wished she could leave this place and find somewhere she could be treated kindly. But for now, she had to stay and do her best. The next morning, Obinna was in a particularly bad mood. "Omasili, where is my breakfast?" he yelled. Omasili quickly brought his food to the dining table. "Here it is, young master." Obinna took one look at it and pushed the plate away. "This is rubbish. I don't want this. Make me something else." "But this is what you usually eat," Omasili said quietly. "I don't care. Make me something else now," Obinna shouted. Omasili went back to the kitchen, her hands shaking. She quickly made another dish and brought it out to Obinna. He tasted it and finally nodded. "This is better." Monica watched all of this from the corner of the room. She felt sorry for Omasili, but knew there was little she could do. Obinna was the young master, and they had to follow his orders. That afternoon, as Omasili was cleaning the living room, Obinna came in with another girl. "Omasili, clean this place up quickly. I have a guest," he commanded. Omasili nodded and walked as fast as she could. The girl sat on the couch, looking around the room. "You have a nice house," she said to Obinna. "Thanks," Obinna replied, glancing at Omasili. "Hurry up, wretched girl." Omasili finished cleaning and left the room. She sat in the kitchen, feeling exhausted. She knew she had to keep going, but every day was struggle. As the days went by, Omasili tried to stay strong. She did her best to do what Obinna asked, even though he was always mean to her. She found comfort in talking to Monica, who always had a kind word for her. One day, while Omasili was walking back from the store with another heavy load, she saw Obinna drive past her again. This time, she didn't let it bother her. She knew she was strong and could handle it. She was determined to survive and make a better life for herself and her father one day. 2 weeks later, Obinna's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and saw it was his father, Ugobeze. He quickly picked up the call. "Hello, Papa," Obinna greeted warmly. "Hello, my son," Ugobeze replied. "How are you doing? And how is Omasili? Is she getting used to everything around the house?" "Yes, Papa," Obinna answered. "She's managing well." "How is business over there?" "The business is doing well," Ugobeze said. "But I called to inform you about a change of plans. We will be coming back in 2 weeks' time instead of next week." "Okay, Papa, no problem. Just take good care of yourself," Obinna said. "You too, my son," Ugobeze replied before hanging up. Obinna smiled as he put down his phone. "Enjoyment continues," he whispered to himself. Later that day, Obinna brought another girl home. He offered her a seat in the living room and called out to Omasili. "Omasili, come and serve us," Obinna ordered. Omasili came out of the kitchen with 2 glasses of juice and served Obinna and his guest. Then she returned to the kitchen, but she felt uneasy. She didn't trust the girl Obinna had brought home and decided to keep eye on her. "Babe, I need to get my second phone from inside. I will be right back," Obinna said, leaving the living room. As soon as Obinna left, the girl quickly brought out a small substance and added it to Obinna's glass of juice. Omasili, who was peeking through the kitchen door, saw everything. Her eyes widened in fear. "People are really wicked," Omasili thought to herself. Just then, Obinna rushed back into the living room and took his glass of juice. Omasili shouted in fear, "Young master, please, don't take that juice. I saw her added something inside your drink." Obinna frowned, confused by what Omasili said. He didn't want to trust her because of the hatred he felt for her, but something made him pause. He decided to follow Omasili's advice. "Babe, please, sip from my glass," Obinna said to the girl. "I will drink yours instead." The girl looked surprised. "I have mine already. Drink yours while I drink mine." "Don't tell me that you are believing what this useless girl is saying. I didn't add anything to your drink, believe me." Obinna's suspicion grew. He was now sure that Omasili was trying to help him. Suddenly, the girl's phone rang. She answered it quickly and then stood up. "I have an emergency to attend to," she said hurriedly before running out of the house. Obinna turned to Omasili. "Did you see what she did?" Omasili nodded. "Yes, I saw her put something in your drink." Obinna sighed in relief. "Thank you, Omasili. You saved my life." Omasili smiled shyly. "I'm just glad you are okay." Obinna felt a pang of guilt for the way he had treated Omasili. He walked over to her and placed a hand on her shoulder. "I promise to treat you better from now on. You have my word." Omasili nodded, feeling hopeful. "Thank you, Obinna." From that day on, Obinna treated Omasili with more kindness and respect, grateful for the second chance she had given him. The next day, Obinna dressed in a smart suit. Omasili saw him and asked, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to the office," Obinna replied. "I want to see how my father's company has been doing since he left." On his way back from the office, Obinna stopped by the mall. He bought a beautiful gift for Omasili to thank her for saving his life. He also got a gift for Madam Monica, the housekeeper, to show his gratitude for her kindness. From that day on, Obinna and Omasili became the best of friends. Obinna changed completely from his bad ways and became a better man. He started going to work regularly to monitor what was happening in his father's company. One evening, he brought home some documents and noticed that something was wrong. He took it upon himself to find out who was behind the problem. He called Omasili, who was sitting on the couch, and said, "Please, come and take a look at these documents." Omasili walked over and looked at the papers. After a while, she said, "These figures are not accurate. It means some people are taking the company's money and sending it to somewhere else. We must find out who is behind this." As time went on, Obinna and Omasili became very close. Obinna couldn't stay without Omasili by his side. He often bought gifts for Omasili to show his appreciation. Madam Monica noticed what was going between the two and was grateful to God for bringing Omasili into their lives. One day, Monica called Omasili to the kitchen. "What is going on between you and the young master?" she asked with a smile. Omasili replied, "Nothing is going on between us. Since the incident with the girl who wanted to poison him, he promised to be nice to me." Monica chuckled. "I know the whole story, but that's not the point. The young master is in love with you." Love? Omasili exclaimed. Madam Monica, you are joking. Please, I was busy when you called me. She then left the kitchen. That night, as Omasili lay on her bed, she couldn't stop thinking about what Monica had said. She wondered, how could a man who once called me all sorts of abusive names fall in love with me? The next day, Obinna and Omasili continued working on the company's documents. They discovered more signs of fraud and were determined to find out who was responsible. Obinna was grateful to have Omasili's help and often thanked her for her support. One evening, as they were walking, Obinna said, "Thank you, Omasili. I couldn't have done this without you." Omasili smiled and replied, "You are welcome, Obinna. I am happy to help." Monica watched them from the kitchen, smiling to herself. She knew that their friendship was growing stronger each day and believed that they were meant for each other. As the day went by, Obinna and Omasili worked hard to uncover the truth about the company's finances. They spent many hours together, discussing their findings and planning their next steps. Obinna appreciated Omasili's intelligence and dedication, and he found himself caring for her more and more. One afternoon, as they took a break from their work, Obinna said to Omasili, "I want to thank you again for everything you have done. You are not just a friend to me, you are like a family." Omasili was touched by his words. "Thank you, Obinna. That means a lot to me." Monica, who was passing by, couldn't help but smile. She hoped that one day, Omasili and Obinna would realize their true feelings for each other. That night, Omasili lay in her bed, thinking about Obinna's words. She wondered if it is possible that he could really love her. Maybe Madam Monica was right, she thought, but how can I be sure? As the days passed, Obinna and Omasili bond grew even stronger. They continued to work together, uncovering more clues about the company's finances and getting closer to finding the culprit. Obinna felt happier than he had in a long time. He knew that Omasili was the reason for his newfound joy. Omasili too felt a deep sense of gratitude and affection for Obinna. She realized that he had changed for better and that their friendship was something special. Despite her doubts, she began to wonder if there was more to their relationship than just friendship. 2 days later, Obinna and Omasili were able to find out who was behind the company's missing money. They were both very happy with their hard work. "We did it, Omasili," Obinna said with a big smile. "Yes, we did," Omasili replied. "I knew we could figure it out together." The next day, Ugobeze returned home with Okafor. Everyone was so happy that Chief Ugobeze was finally back. Obinna hugged his father tightly. "Welcome back, Papa," he said. Omasili also embraced his father. "Welcome, Papa." "Welcome, Chief," she said, and everyone greeted them warmly. That night, as they all sat together, Obinna asked his father, "How was your journey, Papa?" "It was good, my son," Ugobeze replied. "How have you been? And how is everyone in the house?" "I'm good, Papa, as you can see," Obinna said. He then told his father everything that had happened, including how Omasili had saved his life. "Papa, if it wasn't for Omasili, I don't know what would have happened." Ugobeze looked at Omasili with gratitude. "Thank God for using Omasili to save my one and only child," he said. The next day, Chief Ugobeze decided to give a small apartment to Omasili and her father as a token for gratitude. "Omasili, you and your father have done so much for my family," he said. I want to give you this apartment as a thank you. Omasili went on her knees to thank Chief Ugobeze. Thank you, Chief, for your kindness toward my father and I, she said, tears of joy in her eyes. Everything you need is already in the apartment, Ugobeze said. You only need to bring your clothes and move in. That evening, Omasili and her father moved into their new home. When they arrived, they couldn't believe their eyes. The apartment was very beautiful and had everything they could ever want. Omasili's father hugged her tightly. You are a blessed child, he said. Obinna also told his father how Omasili had helped him trace the people who were stealing the company's money. I couldn't have done it without her. Ugobeze noticed the great change in his son's life. Obinna, I see that you have become a better man, he said. I am very proud of you. Ugobeze felt that he had achieved everything he had ever wanted in life. He was happy to have his family together and to see his son doing well. As they settled into their new home, Omasili and her father felt a deep sense of gratitude. They knew that their life had changed for better. Thank you, Papa, Omasili said to her father. I am so happy to be here with you. And I'm happy to be here with you, my daughter. Her father replied, we are truly blessed. From that day on, Omasili and Obinna continued to work together, helping each other and growing closer. Their bond became even stronger, and they knew they could always count on each other. As the days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months, Obinna began to feel bored and uncomfortable around the house. He missed Omasili since she was no longer living with them anymore. He spent more of his time inside his room, feeling lonely. His father Ugobeze noticed his son's change in behavior. One evening, Ugobeze knocked on Obinna's door. May I come in, my son? He asked. Yes, Papa, Obinna replied, sitting up on his bed. Ugobeze entered the room and sat beside Obinna. What is the matter with you, Obinna? You haven't been yourself lately, he said. Obinna sighed. I don't know why I'm feeling this way, Papa. Ever since Omasili moved to her new home, I feel so lonely. I miss her. Ugobeze smiled warmly. My son, you are in love, he said. If there is anything you need me to do for you, you can always count on me. He patted Obinna on the shoulder and then left the room. Obinna thought about his father's words. He knew he had to talk to Omasili about his feelings. The next day, he decided to reach out to her. He went to her new home and knocked on the door. Omasili opened the door and was surprised to see Obinna. Obinna, what a surprise. Please come in, she said. They sat down in the living room and Obinna took a deep breath. Omasili, I need to talk to you about something very important, he began. Sure, Obinna, what is it? Omasili asked, looking curious. I have been feeling lonely and unhappy since you moved out, Obinna said. I have realized that it's because I have feelings for you. I love you, Omasili. I can't imagine my life without you. I wish we could build a family together. Omasili was taken aback by his confession. Obinna, I don't know what to say. She looked into his eyes and saw the sincerity in his words. I know this is sudden, and I understand if you need time to think about it, Obinna continued. But I had to tell you how I feel. Omasili's heart was filled with warmth. She had always admired Obinna's kindness and the changes he had made in his life. She realized that she had feelings for him too. Obinna, I love you too, she said softly. Obinna's face lighted up with joy. Really? "You do?" he asked, hardly believing his ears. "Yes, I do," Omasli replied with a smile. "I have always cared for you, and seeing you become a better person made me love you even more." Obinna took her hands on his. "Omasili, will you be with me? Will you marry me and build a family together?" he said. Tears of joy filled Omasli's eyes. "Yes, Obinna, I will," she said, nodding. They embraced each other tightly, feeling a sense of completeness. Obinna couldn't wait to share the good news with his father. They went back to Obinna's house, hand in hand. When they arrived, Ugobeze was sitting in the living room. He looked up and saw the joy in their faces. "What is it, my children?" he asked. "Papa, Omasli and I have something to tell you," Obinna said excitingly. "We have decided to be together. Omasli had agreed to marry me." Ugobeze's eyes sparkled with happiness. "This is wonderful news," he exclaimed. "I am so happy for both of you." He hugged both of them warmly. The news of Obinna and Omasli's engagement spread quickly, and everyone was thrilled. They began to plan their wedding, and the preparation brought even more joy to their lives. On the day of their wedding, friends and family gathered to celebrate their love. As Obinna and Omasli stood before their loved ones, exchanging vows, they knew they were ready to start a new chapter in their lives together. They promised to love and support each other forever. Their love story became an inspiration to many, showing that true love can grow even from the most unexpected places. Obinna and Omasli lived happily ever after, building a beautiful family and cherishing every moment together. The lesson from this story is that true love and genuine change can come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes, difficult situations and challenges bring out the best in people, leading to personal growth and the discovery of deep connections. This story teaches us the importance of kindness, gratitude, and recognizing the value of those who support us. It also shows that with honesty and courage, we can express our true feelings and build meaningful loving relationships. Thank you for watching this amazing story. Please kindly like, comment, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you on the next video.